do that. You know my weakness.
In the early history of Singapore, before the arrival of British, Singapore was lived by indigenous Malay people. In the island was known to traders from ancient times due to the strategic locations along major trade routes between India and China. In 1819, it was the arrival of British. British statesman Stamford Raffles negotiated a treaty whereby Johor would allow the British to locate a trading port on the island, ultimately leading to the establishment of the Crown Colony of Singapore in 1867, with significant development in infrastructure, trade, and governance. Until World War II. During the World War II, Singapore was invaded and occupied by Japanese Empire from 1942. Occupations that lasted until the end of the war in 1945. After the World War II, Singapore reverted to British control, with increasing levels of self-government being gained, resulting in Singapore merger with the Federations of Malaya to Malaysia in 1963. However, social unrest, racial tensions, and political differences between Singapore Governing People Action Party and Malaysia Alliance Party result in Singapore expulsions from Malaysia. Singapore became independent republic on 9 August 1965. By 1990, the country had become one of the world's most prosperous nations, with highly developed free market economy and strong international trading links. The source number of Singaporeans was updated in January 2022. Singapore population is approximately 5.7 million people. Chinese Singaporeans form the largest ethnic group, comprise about 74.3% of population. They have a significant role to develop the present or aspects of society, like business, politics, and culture. Malay Singaporeans comprise around 13% of the populations. They are the indigenous people of Singapore and have a rich cultural heritage, such as religions, language, and arts. Indian Singaporeans form about 9% of the population. They have diverse ethnic backgrounds, including Tamil, Malayali, Punjabi, and others. The remaining 4% of Singapore population consists of people from various ethnic backgrounds, including Eurasians, Caucasians, and individuals of mixed cultural diversity. Singapore is a polyglot community, where people use various languages to communicate with each other. And also, they have 4 juridic languages that are declared by the government to be an official and national language. Because Singapore promotes national unity, facilitates people to access government services and education, enhances global connectivity. Malay is the national language of Singapore because Malay is the language that can reflect the identity of Singapore due to the history that we mentioned before. In Singapore, Mandarin Chinese is the most used language in Singapore, which is around 34.9% of Singapore population, due to the largest ethnic group of Singapore being of Chinese descent. Moreover, Mandarin Chinese is one of the largest that government encourage their populations to learn due to the China economy. English is the main language of business, government, and education. Approximately 32.1% of Singaporeans using English as the bridge to connect among the diverse ethnic groups within Singapore. Moreover, English serves as the de jure due to the British colonization. Malay is the official language and national language of Singapore because Malay is the language that can reflect the identity of Singapore. due to the history that we mentioned before. Malay is the language that can group all Singapore's diverse ethnic groups. Approximately 13.4% of Singaporeans speak Malay. Only 3.2% of Singapore population speak Tamil, due to this language being used only among Indian community. Singapore is a multi-religious country because in the past, Singapore was a country with some major trade routes. So, people from many countries came to trade and live in this country. The regions with the most people is Buddhism, Islam, Christian, Hindu, Taoism, indigenous religious, non-religious belief. Due to its history of immigrations and mingling of many ethnic groups, Singapore has a rich and diverse culture. Singaporeans are passionate about food, and the cuisine reflects the diversity of the population's hawker center, bustling food court offering a wide variety of affordable local dishes. Popular dishes include Hainan chicken, rice, laksa, and nasi lemak. The architecture of Singapore reflects the colonial past, which colonial era buildings stand alongside modern skyscraper. Iconic landmarks include the Marina Bay by Sand, Garden by the Bay, and the Merlion statue.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to LAC News. My name is Mr. Tong, and today I'm with
Miss Nan. So, what is going on today? What is the interesting news, Mr. Tong?
For this morning, there has a viral hashtag on the Twitter or X, hashtag LAC Singapore พังแน่
Oh, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And what is it about?
It is about the language choice and domains of the language. There are some groups of the LIC students interview Singaporeans how they use language and in the different situation. So let's see in the real situation.
Okay, go.
Go.
Okay, good morning. I want to ask about your language that you use in daily life. How many languages do you use?
Mainly English, then sometimes speak in Mandarin as well, and some, of course, English.
How about you?
I think I will use maybe about 3 to 4 languages, including dialect.
What are they?
Mandarin, spoken Mandarin, English, Hokkien, a bit of Cantonese.
Okay, so as we can see here, Mrs. Bin can speak varieties, which is English, Mandarin, Cantonese, and Hokkien. So, in her daily life, she will use Singapore English at home with her family members. And also when she teaches her young sisters about homework, she will use Singlish and Mandarin Chinese.
Mrs. Beans always meets her close friends at the cafe. She used Singlish to communicate or gossip among her group. She also used standard English when the stranger or the foreigner asks something in the public. The amazing is that she can use both of Singlish and English in the same time, which is called intercontinental dialects. So amazing.
Yeah, and moreover, in her workplace, she also used standard English with her colleagues when she meeting at her workplace. And on the other hand, Mandarin Chinese is active in the religion's domain. For example, when she going to the temple and meet the monk, so she will use Mandarin Chinese.
Lastly, Mrs. Bin is a teacher. She can use both of standard English and Singlish for teaching for her students in the school. As we can see here, she used one language in a different situation due to the social dimension or the social context.
Yeah, and the thing is, that theory here is the social dimensions is the solidarity social distance skill. And you will see, obviously, she used different language due to the intimate or distant relationship.
Moreover, social context like the setting or the pace is one of the most factors that influence the language choice of the people. So that is for our today.
Yeah.
See you next time. Bye
Bye.
bye.
The reason behind the use of more than one variety in Singapore is because Singapore is a multicultural society with significant populations of different ethnic groups, each with its own language. Many Singaporeans are bilingual or multilingual. The country also recognizes English, Mandarin Chinese, Tamil, and Malay as its official languages. This can be the reason why many signs or the official information that government announced are used by these languages. Using multiple languages on signage reflects the linguistic diversity of populations. It makes communication more effective and efficient for residents and visitors. Using multiple languages ensures that signage is accessible to everyone.
Okay, good morning. How many languages do you use?
Mainly English, then sometimes speak in Mandarin as well, and some, of course, English.
I've spoken Mandarin, English, Hokkien, a bit of Cantonese.
So I can speak English, Mandarin, and I can understand Teochew, a little bit of Japanese.
Do you switch language when you speak with different family members?
For me, growing up, I used dialect with my parents as well. So, but me and my daughter mainly Mandarin and English.
I speak English with my parents and brother, and I speak Mandarin with my grandparents.
What language do you use with your friends?
English. My boyfriend is Malay Chinese, so he speaks Malay with his friends and his family. And I don't understand, but I need to learn a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the time English. Yes.
Why do you use this language with your friends?
Okay, because as you know, we are culture, so multi races. So I have within my friend circles, I have Malay, I have Indian friends as well as Chinese friends. So English is the universal languages. So we use English more.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you so much for your time.
During the time when we were in Singapore and doing this project, we can definitely say that we gained a lot of experience and received new information that we never knew before. Moreover, we can confirm that Singapore is a multilingual country where we can see true cultures, people, languages. For example, in the signage that we present to you today, you are going to notice that different areas of Singapore, the language choice on the side is different. And also, the language choice that Singaporeans use in their daily life are very diverse. As you can see from the interview that social factors have effect on the choice such as topic, participant, setting, and purpose.
LAC News want to say that what we have present today is only just some part of the culture and language in Singapore. I truly believe that there are still more cultural and variety of the language that we can explore in the future. For today, bye bye, 再见, Walikilen, and Salamat Tingkua.